What's up all you heavy metal rockin' dudes and dudettes, Toys here, and I'm back yet again with another heavy metal review thanks to my friends over at Incendium Toys. They sent over their two new heavy metal figures, Nelson the B-17 Gunner, and of course, the lovely Taarna. If you are anything like Kenny McCormick, you've definitely seen this chick once or twice before, or maybe you're just a fan of the original heavy metal series. But yes, these are two new action figures from Incendium, and we're going to take a real quick, fresh look at them today. I'm very excited to see them. As you can see, the packaging definitely takes a note from some old Toy Biz action, and that is always very, very cool. Got the old little Toy Biz looking thing, Fig Biz, down in the corner, and the figures do look great. On the back, we get a good look at some artwork and what is also available. Hopefully we get some more figures from them, but if you want to check out their site, they do have a lot of great action figure offerings to go off of, and also some upcoming Bill and Ted action figures as well. These are in the 5-inch scale, of course, so let's get them open. Let's check them out. This is the brand new Incendium Toys Heavy Metal. This is Nelson the B-17 Gunner, and of course, Taarna. Starting off with Nelson, this guy looks really cool, and he really displays well as much as you could hope for a zombified B-17 Gunner. It is straight from the heavy metal cartoon. A bit of the horror element of that particular science fiction type story. In terms of his accessories, he does come with this really cool foot locker, tail gun, ammunition box sort of deal, loaded with butts, and it's got really nicely applied graphics, really nice paint to it. Doesn't open, doesn't do much, it's just there, but it does look really cool, and I like it. He also comes with this really nice Gatling gun, which would fit on one of the planes or something like that. I was really kind of hoping that he would have had a base or something for him to kind of stand behind, something to hold. This does fit on a plane. Yes, he can kind of sort of hold it, but it's not really meant for a gun that can be just held, I would say, in the usual sense. Usually it's applied something at the base or something like that. But it is painted nice silver, nice brown elements, really nice rivets. It's sculpted well, so I got to give it to him on that. I just wish that it had some sort of base to it so that old Nelson could stand behind it and start firing off. Nelson also comes with an interchangeable hand, and I got to give it to him on this. It's painted nice green, fits well with the brown jacket aesthetics of him, and the nails are actually kind of sharp, which is quite funny to me. I love when action figures do that. But I know that you're all here to really take an in-depth look at old Nelson, and I absolutely love the sculpt on this guy. I really do think that they nailed it in terms of what the character looked like from the animation. I definitely like the little paint nods on top. Gives it that little bit of a cel-shaded look with the white paint on the goggles. Down to the skeletal remains. He's got these little soft guts right here that are sculpted well. That's just part of the extra little fun. I like that. A little old school type element that you would actually see for Toy Biz type figures, and this to me actually is a very good reminiscent of that. It's almost as if Toy Biz, if it was still being made in that sense today, this is what the figures might have evolved into. So I definitely dig that. I think that's really cool. Nice black paint. It really does look a bit cartoonish. It's not overly animated looking, but I like the weather defect, the textures, everything on him. He just looks like an old rotting zombie, but in a really cool heavy metal sense. As far as the articulation goes, his head is on a ball joint and it will go all the way around. It's not really hindered by much of anything. He does have swivels at the shoulders. They'll go up, down, left, right. They go out about that much and go all the way up. He's got single jointed elbows, but they do spin at the joints. His hands do not rotate, but this is the one hand that you can swap out, and as you can see, it fits in and out really nicely, nice and snug, so they have done a great job there. The one thing I will point out, though, is when you try to get him to hold the weapons, his arms don't necessarily go all the way to meet, and then, they kind of meet right there at that cusp when it's right when you want to get it to that point where you can hold both the weapons, and he doesn't really hold it up all that well, like I said, because there's no base, but you can kind of sort of get it if you can finagle it to where he can hold the gun. Now, you can work with it a little bit, but it's not a very natural movement, unfortunately. I would have liked to have seen extra hands, but Hey, you're giving us one and some articulation in him, especially if you try to get him to hold his gun. I think it would have really helped. Doesn't have a... Oh, he does. Well, let's see. Does he have a waist? It seems that he may have a waist, or it's just the way the figure is put, but mine is not rotating there. He can kick out to the sides a little bit, back. He's got some double jointed knees, as you can see right there. The legs don't really go up all that much, and it's starting to kind of, I don't want to force anything, break anything, but yeah, it goes out to a nice degree, I would say. It doesn't go all the way out just because of his crotch piece right there. No other rotation or swivel or anything like that. So he does have the double jointed knees, and that's on both sides. Like I said, I think that this is really good, reminiscent of the actual old Toy Biz figures. It's a little bit lacking, I think, in terms of what modern articulation, what people are looking for, but in terms of a well-sculpted, well-painted figure, you can't go wrong with this Nelson guy. It's actually pretty cool. Moving on to Taarna's accessories, she does come with quite a few, and all of them very representational of the character. You would expect these types of accessories with her. You get her red, black, and gold sword sheath. For the most part, it is painted nicely. The gold is just a little bit upset right there, right on the sides, unfortunately. She also comes with this sword attachment for her belt. This black thing just sort of slips around the sheath, which once you get it in a way that you want it situated, it will look nice on her. The one thing I will point out, much like in old Toy Biz fashion, there's these little tiny hooks that are right there, and they're actually supposed to push into the belt. Each of the belt has the loopholes right there. And because this is also a soft material, I have tried and tried and tried. I cannot get the two little fasteners to slip through the holes. Not to say that they won't fit, but just because they're so gummy that it doesn't want to go. If they were like harder pieces of plastic, they would go no problem. But again, in talking about being reminiscent of old Toy Biz figures, that is definitely something I ran into. However, I will show you that you can still situate it on her, and it does look pretty good. Taarna also comes with her sword. That's actually painted really nicely. It's got a silver handle to it, red dot on both sides. Look really nice. Got a little bit of a gold weathering to it as well amongst the silver, so that looks cool. Gold sword itself, and this little electrical purple power piece that slides really nicely over the sword. So again, she holds it nicely. I'll show you everything in just a second, but it's actually a really nicely painted sword. And then finally we come to Taarna herself, and it's again a very elegant, well executed figure in the 5-inch scale. She does look like she did step right out of the old heavy metal animation. She does look great from all angles. But I do like her face sculpt. I think it's well applied, the paint and everything. She's got that really cool looking, well sculpted blue hair to her. She's got lots of little parts of her armor. It goes over her chest. One little issue right here on her breast, it's perhaps she was pushed up a little bit too much to the plastic, so it did take off a little chunk of the black paint right there. Well down to her stomach, her thigh-high boots, everything is painted nicely. I gotta give it to him on this. It looks great. She looks great. Not to get too pervy, but the black does seem to stop right there. Just an FYI, it should be more of her thong. Just something I was pointing out. You know, of course, I have to give you an in-depth review. Of course, a lot of you are shaking your heads going like, what is this guy doing? But she does have some nice paint right here on her gauntlets. The black is applied nicely. The gold, the red right here. It's a different colored red than the shoulder pad and the boots, so it does mesh really, really well with her. In terms of the articulation, she's got ball jointed arms. They'll go all the way around, up, down. She doesn't have anything at the bicep. Single jointed elbows right there and nothing at the wrists. Her head is on a ball, you can tell, but because of her hair, much like most female figures, that it just completely hinders. It's nothing at all. Much like the Nelson figure, it looks like they can kind of swivel at the waist. This one actually, yeah, she does have a waist swivel. So perhaps on Nelson, he was just a little bit more stuck. He does kick out about that much, not really to the side and not really much to the back, probably because of her butt. But she does have these really nice double jointed knees. Nothing at the ankles, nothing at the thighs, nothing like that. So a very basic articulated figure, but one that's not too shabby. And like I said, she holds her weapon really well. You can situate it right there into her hand. And then as far as the belt, because I can't get it to go, but if you just kind of situate it right there on her hips, it does swing around nicely and it does stay perfect right then and there. So it's not really something that you have to actually buckle, but it doesn't hinder the fact that you can also put the sword in the sheath and have it hang. It looks good, it looks natural. So in that sense, I don't mind it, but I would have liked to have seen it actually work. In terms of the scaling, they are at the 5-inch mark, and here they are with some larger characters, 6-inch, both old and new, Kenner, things like that. So they are going to be on the smaller side, unfortunately. However, if you can find some other figures, some monsters or something like that, I think they will fit in quite nicely. And as a little bit of an extra bonus, a nice little nod, the Nelson figure actually does glow in the dark. So that's going to wrap it up for my fresh look at the brand new Incendium Toys Heavy Metal Taarna, and of course Nelson, the B-17 Gunner. I'll say thank you again to Incendium for sending these out to give you guys a fresh look at these figures. Are well executed. I think they're fantastic representations of the heavy metal franchise. I think the paint looks good. I like the accessories. Some of the accessories need some work in the sense of you need a little bit of additions to them. The belt on Taarna needs to actually do what it needs to do. I want it to be secure on there. Yes, you can put it on her and have it drape, but it's not doing what it should do. So in that sense, it's like, So I would say the accessories are good. They just need to be well executed. A little bit of a base for Nelson's gun. That would have been fantastic. I like his little footlocker ammunition box. The extra hands are okay for Nelson. Taarna, of course, I would say maybe some extra head portraits. That might be good, maybe for a later wave, something like that. The paint really does look good. Only little imperfections here and there. So I think the paint overall came out nicely. I would like to see more articulation. I think in this day and age, it definitely needs that. It needs to have wrists, so some better articulation here and there. The 5-inch scale actually doesn't bother me. I kind of like it. You can fit them in with other monsters and things like that of the larger scale. It fits in well with that particular heavy metal, horrific, or science fiction nature. So I think that's okay. Yes, it would have been great to have more of a 6-inch scale, 7-inch scale, something like that. But in terms of what they went with, I think they did a great job. I like that Nelson glows in the dark. I like these old little nods to Toy Biz. I like that they actually came with stands too. The stands work fantastic. They clip in, they hold them secure. More figures need to come with stands. So overall, I do recommend these. I think these are very cool. If you are a heavy metal fanatic, fan, anybody, then you're definitely going to want these figures. If you're looking more in terms to scale them with other IPs or something like that, I don't necessarily recommend them for you because I think you're going to be disappointed. But if you're an old Toy Biz fan, or if you're a fan of the smaller type figures, 5-inch scale, I think you're going to be absolutely stoked. So I want to just say thank you again, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you choose to celebrate. A very happy holidays to you all, and I wish you the best for Christmas and everything else coming into the new year. So I'm going to leave you guys with that. As always, drink some great coffee, eat some great food, but most importantly, remember, no matter how much you cheese it, you will never get the reward that you're looking for. And when you do, let me know what you found. I'll talk to you guys soon. Adios.